Thanks again for clicking. It's me coming at you on this early October day with another topic that, imagine that, isn't about women. Which is something that, having got a new job cashiering, yippee, recently, and I'm still, to all you people who may be wondering, I'm still there. Haven't had a talk, haven't been approached and talked with a talk, although I haven't sold any of the company's cards, so the talk might be coming. But I've kind of realized that I've kind of pre-formulated my reaction in regards to like being confronted about not selling any cards. Is just like my answer to always be like, I'll do better, and then it come to me later, I'll do better. And I think that's going to be my answer, is just I'll do better. Because if I don't sell enough of the cards for them, they can just do what they have to do. If that's fire me, that they can do that. But you can't you can't force people to buy these cards, to sign up for the card. And people who pretty much have it or don't want it, people pretty much who want it have it, and people who don't have it don't want it. So it's hard enough just fucking doing the job without selling these cards. But anyway, what'll happen will happen with the whole card selling or signing up shit. So this video is about something. I was starting to say this and then I got sidetracked. That having, like I say, previously had cashiering jobs and retail jobs and all this shit, and having recently gotten a new cashiering job, whoop-de-doo. This is something that kind of reoccurred to me, having got back into the mix, which is, cashiering for you people who, there's some people on here on YouTube and stuff that have never even had a job, who make social anxiety videos, and some of you I've commented on saying, you should, retail really brought me out of my shell, you should really try that, especially since you're young and in school and stuff and you've never had a job. You should probably try to get one anyway, because, you're too old to not having had a job. So, so for me, I just want to share my experience, which is, for me, cashiering and just working retail, but, specifically cashiering has really pretty much, more or less, I would say, almost obliterated social anxiety. Now, I'm not too sure like the social anxiety I had was necessarily the social anxiety that like everyone, I'm not sure. I think what I have had or have a little bit of whatever is something different, where it's not so much being afraid of people, but more like having a knowledge of my past experiences with people, and I think it's more like I'm not really afraid of people so much as I know that I'm different, so what's the point of bothering with people kind of situation. So it's like the end result is the same, where I kind of like avoid people, but it's for different reasons. It's not because I'm afraid of them, it's because I'm just uninterested in them. It's because I don't think that they have anything to offer that I am interested in. So it's not, I don't think I necessarily had social anxiety. I just had a different, or had a different situation, was just simply being so much different than the average person. But at any rate, it is very much the same kind of thing, which that makes you uneasy around the average person to a certain extent. But what this whole video is about is my experiences in retail has made my dealing with the average person less, much more easy. In high school, I had a job that I worked at a store that sold movies. At the time would have been VHS tapes mostly, and some Laserdiscs and stuff. And I worked there for like the last 2 years of high school, and I was kind of in my shell at that time, and I never liked, ever since I was in high school doing it for the very first time, I never liked the corporate suggest sell bullshit. This particular place, on weekends and shit, they'd have these flyers that they'd want you to hand to fucking people who walk in. This was at a mall, Then at the end of the night, you'd find those flyers just everywhere, stuff behind this and that. It was just, oh my God. I always hated the whole corporate mentality. It was just so stupid. And I didn't really, because I was kind of a timid kid and stuff back then, I didn't really necessarily like the whole suggest sell. Obviously, I still don't like that shit, but just I didn't really like the dealing with customers aspect. And when I quit there because then, like, after I graduated, they hired some asshole who was a real asshole, and I got the fuck out of there. Then I got in a car wreck and I got a settlement from that, and I was able to basically earn interest. So I didn't really, have to work necessarily as a late teen, early 20-year-old, because you were able to earn some interest back then. And I didn't work for a while, and then I was just so, bored that it's just like I want a job. But at the time, having experienced that 2 years in high school, I was like, I don't want it to be where I have to be on the floor and suggest sell. So in 2001 I did like this back room, you might as well just call it like processing, merchandise processing shit. And that didn't last long until, I guess I was, unbeknownst to me, I guess I was seasonal, I don't know, whatever. But that's fine because it really sucked anyway. And cut to a year later, I was, in the fall of '02, I was looking for a job, 2002, and a friend of mine, which was a bad idea. If a friend of yours, can get you a job working with them, I wouldn't recommend it, because it kind of ended up going sour. Yeah, it was fun at the beginning, but it kind of fucked things up, to work like with your friend, and the friend was like in a management position, or I can't remember, whatever. But anyway, so in 2002 I got my first job where I actually but it wasn't like a corporate Nazi situation place, which was good. But I had my first job in 2002 since I was in high school, where I was on the sales floor and ringing people up, and I was like, oh my god, I loved it, but at that time I was much older. I had a girlfriend at the time, so my confidence was probably higher. But at that time, and I spent this is crazy, I spent exactly a year there. I got hired, I can't remember the date, it might have been August 22nd or something like that. My first day was August 22nd, and then a year later, 2003, on August 22nd, whatever the hell the day was, I got fired on the exact same day. Oh, unbelievable, you can't make this shit up. So, that was a great year. And I was like, holy shit, and that really, look at the light, wow. That really, I thought having that thing down would alleviate that problem, I guess not. But that, just bear with me and just enjoy the light fluctuations. That experience, that 12 months at that job was like, goddamn, I loved it, because there was all kinds of, it was like this, I don't know how you'd describe it. It was just this weird store, I don't want to name the store, but it was a weird store where, I don't know, whatever. But a lot of young girls came in there and stuff, and they were all kind of sexy and stuff, and I don't know, it was great, and, I was a little older, than I was in high school and stuff, but long story short, for me, retail really kind of, working retail and working with customers and stuff really brought me out of my shell at that particular job. And then every job I've had since then was retail, where, you're cashiering in addition to other stuff. This is the first job I've ever had where it's like, at this time anyway, all I'm doing is cashiering, and hopefully it's kind of exhausting to just cashier for hours, and I've never just cashiered nothing but for hours and hours, so hopefully I can end up, there's other things you can do on the front end, so hopefully I can branch off into that, because ideally I like, cashiering plus doing other stuff, cashiering, whatever, but whatever, I'll hang in there for now and whatever. But long story short, I just wanted to say to any of you people suffering with social anxiety, I would highly recommend getting like a cashiering job or some kind of a job where you interact with customers, because when you interact with, at least for me, when you interact with a whole bunch of people, like in one day or 4 hour time and stuff, you really begin to realize, you get a great sampling of, I guess, society. You get the assholes, you get the nice people, you get the goofballs, you get the quiet ones, you just get a general, like I say, I can't tell you how much, cashiering is like speed dating. It keeps coming up and up and up, and I keep saying it over and over and over. It's such a great way to experience, a a general overview of society by cashiering. You get, skinny people, fat people, beautiful people, ugly people, happy people, sad people, grumpy people, whatever. You just get to experience the whole barrage of people and what they're like. And quite frankly, over the years of over the years of quote unquote serving people or ringing people up and stuff, I came to the conclusion that I had always thought, because I always knew I was different, but I always thought I was less than the average. And oh boy, was I wrong, because having actually experienced a lot of witnessing average people at my places of business and customers and coworkers and stuff, I kind of realized not to be like a putting myself on a pedestal or whatever. I kind of realized the opposite is more true, where maybe these people, these average people, are like a little less than what I am, I mean, I always knew I was different. I didn't know in what way. When I was a kid, I always thought I was a lesser person because everyone was all, had a big group of friends and they were all, seemed so happy. But I guess unless you really spend time with them or really talk to them, you realize that their happiness is just kind of like this, or at least in my opinion, just this surface, almost, facade. I don't know. It's just, to me, it seems fake and not genuine, but that's just my particular take on it. So, as I say, long story short, if you've got social anxiety and you've never had a job at all, or if you've never had a retail job or a cashiering job, I would highly suggest getting one. And don't get me wrong, I mean, even at my new job, I've already come across some customers who've been grumpy and assholes and weirdos and shit. But I mean, I think in my experience, I would say that the majority are going to either be, very positive, experiences ringing people up, or just, your average, just not great, not bad, just whatever. But I mean, obviously you're going to have some unpleasant experiences, unpleasant customers, but that's kind of just comes with life. You don't just experience nothing but positivity in life. So cashiering in a weird way is just like experiencing life almost in a really supersonic speed. Like you can go in for 4 hours of cashiering and really, experience, you meet so many people and very briefly talk with so many people for such a short amount of time. It's kind of almost, to me, it is kind of what I've been finding out over the last several days is kind of exhausting, really. But I think that, like I say, I'm just going to stick with it, and hopefully, not having worked for a couple months, that hopefully I can just, it's an initial shock because it's like, bam, you're back into work, but hopefully I can acclimate myself to it and I'll just get used to it again. I remember the same feeling years ago when I started a job, and you'd do things like you'd work like 9 days in a row and it'd just be nothing. So once you just have to get used to working again, that's all. So to anyone who wonders, I'm still there and things are, as far as I know, still fine or whatever, as far as whatever. I expect to obviously be talked to about my not signing anyone up for a card, a store card, but I'll just be like, oh gosh, that's unfortunate, I'll do better. That's going to be my go-to line for whenever I'm confronted about that. And if I don't get enough, sign-ups for them, they can do what they must do, but they're short on cashiers, so I can't imagine they're going to boot me out. So, but whatever happens, happens, and I didn't intend to go this long, but it looks like I did. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you guys subscribing, watching, commenting as always, and I will definitely catch you on the next video.